Hello everyone, I'm here with a very important release for Interstellar System Heat. Just a reminder, Interstellar System Heat is a mod that tries to reconcile the KSP Interstellar mod's version of how reactors, nozzles, and generators work with the system heat way of doing things, which has them all bundled into the same part. So we can have them be separate parts and then tweak scalable independently just in case we want some different kind of performance. For instance, if your reactor is attached to a generator, so we have a generator part here, we can have some of the electric power going to the generator and then have a smaller nozzle because it only needs to do with a smaller amount of thrust and stuff like that. So anyway, we can have a custom setup for our nuclear engines, and eventually there will be different reactors. Right now, there are the following parts: the Brayton generator, the fast spectrum reactor, which is meant to generate electric power, the NTR reactor, which is meant to generate thrust mainly, and so last a very short amount of time. So its full power life is 9.3 hours compared to the fast spectrum reactor's 4.2 years. 4.2 years anyway, and then just a single thermal rocket nozzle, and then that's that. So very few parts. The parts that I intend to add are a different kind of generator, many different kinds of reactors, a magnetic nozzle for those purposes, and we'll eventually have fusion reactors. But for now, I wanted to release this version because I'm going to begin to try to implement the radiation system. So this will be one branch with no radiation system, even though the hook is there in the configuration file on the reactor. But you don't have to worry about the radiation. The radiation system is just reactor radiation, not including the ambient radiation that Kerbalism deals with. I'll probably have some other mod to replace that. That's a whole other thing, but I want to do it in a very particular way that doesn't just involve lead. So yeah, that's going to be different. But we are going to have this be a separate thing, and so the radiation system that I'm thinking of implementing is going to be mainly dealing with acute radiation rather than lifetime radiation. So I fixed some of the problems I had in a previous video. Right now it's overheating, but the reactor shut down properly. So when it overheats, the reactor shuts down automatically until the loop temperature gets down to a decent temperature. So that is working now. Also, we don't have anything weird in the console. But again, I'm only using a certain set of mods, and mod interaction with some other mods might be a problem. People need to test this out. So okay, I've got a reaction wheel on here. It's a pretty good reaction wheel. I didn't really size the reactor and nozzle precisely right here in this case. This nozzle is probably a little bit weak. We can activate the nozzle via staging. When I change propellant, it doesn't have multiple propellants being shown there. And we will have a longer list of possible propellants. I've just got liquid hydrogen and liquid methane right now. But others are possible. And of course, we've got the hydrogen tank. So let's start it out soft there. And thrust, we want the thrust so that it takes most of the heat away so the radiators don't have to deal with it. But we have to be careful. Oh, the heat temperature, so it already shut down the reactor because it went too much, because I scaled down the nozzle because it is going to be, well, I wanted to see that happen. So we would need to scale up the nozzle to take all the heat away from the reactor. So for now, we have to keep it throttled down. But the generator, let's see. The generator is probably still not using enough of it. It's got a 1 megawatt power output right now. We'd need a bigger generator, because there's an NTR reactor. Fast spectrum reactor of this size, the generator would be able to handle it. But the NTR reactor is capable of so much heat that the generator wouldn't be able to handle it without the nozzle being bigger. So, and we can see all that happening. Right now it's balanced. But then if we throttle down the nozzle, it'll force the reactor to shut down. So all this is working as I want it to. And you just have to wait until it cools down below 900 Kelvin and then it can go again. It has a little bit of leeway. It's 1.5 times the rated temperature. So if it's supposed to be 900 Kelvin, it'll shut down at 1350. And of course, there's the special time warp functionality. So we can see here it's working. Oh, one thing, both Pekka's Time Warp and this variation of Pekka's Time Warp, because this is just a branch off of Pekka's Time Warp that is meant to work with this peculiar system, there's a maximum amount of acceleration that you can have. So I think right now we're at 0.1 thrust weight ratio. I think it's like only 1/100th. I mean, after all, at this level, you could probably just do Fizz Warp. Okay, now it's stable. I'll just have the reactor at 1%. With the reactor at 1%, thermal output 6 megawatts, we can time warp. And we can just hold prograde there. Again, there's mostly functionality that Pekka made for his version of warp thrust. It's just the weird way that the ISP and thrust is being calculated for this setup that wasn't compatible with that and required its own version. This version dumps certain other features of that version, but it's only got to be configured for these parts. For all other parts, you will use Pekka's warp thrust. So they'll both be able to sit in the same install side by side. Okay, so we're spiraling out. Not that we needed to if we could use the full thrust, but that is operating as expected, so that you can use the reactors for electric engines as well, though you wouldn't use the NTR reactor for that. You'll use this fast spectrum one. And there'll be more powerful reactors besides. I'm planning for the radiation to be a toggle thing, but for a while I'll have to see how it's working. Of course, I'm doing all of this with the help of AI, okay? So, full disclosure, it's Claude AI and ChatGPT helping me out with the coding of this system. And so far, otherwise I wouldn't have the time. So, I mean, I know code. I know C# and everything. So I can see what they're doing. But otherwise, trying to figure out the KSP API in order to make this happen without any help would be very difficult. So that is the situation, and I want to be clear exactly what I'm doing with AI at all times. So this is something that I'm doing with AI. Basically, as far as AI is concerned, it's making this Interstellar System Heat plugin and also doing the calculators that I've shown on the channel so far. Both of those require a lot of double checking. I'll create a configuration so that the KSP Interstellar parts will work with system heat. But I want to finalize certain things first. Actually, right now, I think I'm fairly confident that I can move the KSP Interstellar stuff over to system heat. That will entail removing the KSP Interstellar default stuff. So the KSP Interstellar plugins would no longer be necessary strictly, or the parts won't be operating off of them. So they'll be operating off of Interstellar System Heat instead. So that I'll test out and will release, but in the meantime I'll also be working on the radiation system, which is a whole complicated thing and will involve a new part, the shadow shield, and how the shadow shield all works. And I'll try to make that toggleable, but it's bound to complicate the code in various ways, so it's good to have a release here, and as it is, this is fine, and you can create your own parts for it, or you can try to adapt other parts to it if you like this system. So anyway, with that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do press like. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time.